Let's push it forward. Our next performance was from Braxton Garcia and Jadyn Cree, and they sang Danny's song by Loggins and Messina.
Even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey, and everything will bring a chain of love.
And listen, y'all, this was the performance that I did my Watch With Me on. So if you subscribe to our Patreon for $5 per month, you can watch me watch this performance and watch me recognize that I actually did know this song when I thought that
it's
I
a
did
great
not.
song, great classic.
I was like, oh, I do know this.
This is another one where my head was scratched.
Okay.
I don't get it. And you all, I'm
Okay.
not going to be mean, but I am going to be pitchy. Because there were pitchy issues in this song.
Okay.
Braxton's voice, first of all, is so recordable. It's so distinct. He is one of those voices that the second he opens his mouth, you know who is singing.
1,000%.
I'm going to start with the positive. I love how Jadyn accompanied Braxton in the beginning of the song. When they got to the chorus, when she came in, when they got to the chorus, Jadyn seemed a little bit nervous. The pitch, for me,
Agreed.
her pitch was all over the place. I struggled with her pitch. I understand she is very stylized in her voice of that Billie Eilish, Dove Cameron, and that's what I really liked about her in her blinds. But this did not work for me. This did not work at all for me. One thing I do like about Jadyn is she has a very youthful sound. It is a very bright, hopeful sound that I hear in her voice.
Absolutely.
I thought Braxton was just telling the story. With his country leaning voice or country style voice, I just felt like he was telling the story more. It's interesting for me though, when I felt Jadyn was accompanying Braxton with the vocal, like when she was backing him up, her pitch was fine to me. When she sang solo, I struggled. And I did not. And then I wrote, what? I don't get it. And then we can discuss that later. Stephanie?
Okay.
I'm very interested to hear your take.
Yeah, when Braxton started, I was like, oh, you've been here before. Like, this is not your first rodeo on a stage, brother. Like, he sounded like a professional. His voice was just so controlled and grounded. Again, that country leaning that just sounded really delicious. He was telling the story. If I ain't know no better, Braxton wrote this song. Like, that's how it felt to me. That's how it felt. He had some texture with the growl in his voice. It just seemed like he had been performing on stages forever, and he just seemed super, super comfortable. When they harmonized together, it sounded really nice. I was like, oh, that's a beautiful blend together. She is the perfect kind of lighter, sweeter accompaniment to his deeper, richer voice. I was like, oh, I like this. So it's interesting because something that the coaches said is something that I wrote down. Jadyn has this, what I wrote down is like she has this whisper filter over her voice where you can hear like a whispery tone, but it's not quiet.
Right.
There is a little bit of more power behind the vocal. It's a very unique what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very unique tone. It's a very distinct tone. And I can understand, and I as well heard some pitch issues. I felt like all of the ends of her lines did not land. I also feel though, wearing my headphones, it made her sound a little bit, I understood it a little bit more. So I'll be interested to listen to the vocal without my headphones, because I think that there might be some pitch things that might be missed without having headphones on, because her voice is that charactery and that textured, and that might not translate audio wise if you don't have headphones on. So but overall, even in the rehearsal, she was definitely nervous. And her having confidence was something that they talked about and that she talked about in the rehearsal. And I think some of those nerves are what we saw on stage. But I felt like when they sang together, it was really, really, really beautiful. Right.
All right. So,
All right.
This one puzzled me a bit, but who was chosen?
So Jadyn was chosen to move forward.
It's not so much that Jadyn was chosen. Well, it is in the sense that Braxton wasn't.
Right. If it was going to be a one or the other for this particular performance.
I think Braxton shouldn't have been let go. I don't think he should have been let go, in my opinion.
Right.
I thought he did a bang up job with this.
He was outstanding. Yeah. He was outstanding.
That was my head scratcher of the evening. My second head scratcher, other than losing Pablo. Pablo had just a bad. He just was given dealt a bad hand, in my opinion.